All right, let's do a case study about how ChatGPT can take a bland, boring unit plan and make it something that you will actually want to use and feel proud of. So one way to think of ChatGPT is kind of like having a teaching assistant that's right there to help you, sometimes with the tasks that you don't want to do yourself that much or that kind of give you a headache because they're hard to think of. So if we go back to, say we have to write a unit for supply and demand for fifth graders. Okay, so create a unit about teaching supply and demand for fifth graders. All right, you can kind of look at it, grade level fifth, 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to say make it last 5 weeks, and see, it's going to spit us out something new. So we're going to get a new unit that's actually 5 weeks. Okay, here's some objectives, materials, lessons. Now, I'm looking at this, and I can say that in none of the schools that I've taught at would this work, would this fly, because the last 2 schools I've been in have been understanding by design. So this is not even matching the formatting, and it's certainly not how you would match your planning. So this would not work for me. Plus, I'm not going to look at the content. I'm not sure. Maybe it's got some fun ideas. But if I'm teaching in a school that teaches with backwards design and understanding by design, I have to plan my units kind of with this format. I'm looking first about what I want my students to know at the end, how that transfers some of the big ideas and essential questions that I want to be throughout the unit. Then I look at how I know that they've met that, and then I start to create their learning plan. When I'm looking at what ChatGPT has just made for me, I have no idea if it's done any of that. So I'm going to go through and make sure it matches what I actually need. So I'm going to take that information that it's done already, and I'm going to stop it. I'm going to say that doesn't work for me. I need my unit plan to match an understanding by design format. Can you make a plan for a supply and demand unit that matches a UBD lesson planning format? And I'm going to go back to this formatting, and I'm going to start with stage 1. I want it to just give me the information for stage 1 because, when you're lesson planning or unit planning, you are going to start with this and make sure that's what you want before you can move on to stage 2 and before you can move on to stage 3. So let's just start with stage 1. Start only with stage 1 for now. All right, so here's a unit plan for supply and demand unit following the UBD style. 5 weeks still, it's still for 5th grade. So if I look right here, I can see side by side. Stage 1, desired results. All right, here we are. Desired results. Established goals right here. It's telling us these are the key concepts for the established goals section. Understandings right here. Okay, my essential questions right here. Key skills, that goes with essential questions. Assessment, we're not going to talk about that yet. Stage 1, summary now. I'm going to say, hey, learn, because I want it to learn the format that I'm going to have to be turning in. Learn this so that it sees exactly how I am doing it. So now it's going to perfectly match what I'm actually needing to submit and the steps I need to go through when I'm planning. Okay, so I'm looking at that. establish goals, meaning, essential questions, acquisitions, and it does seem to be matching what I need now. So then the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to start to look through this. So looking through this unit, analyze and make decisions based on supply and demand. Okay. Understandings. Okay, let's look at these essential questions. How do supply and demand principles affect the economy in our daily lives? I think that's really good. What factors influence supply and demand, and how do they impact the market? Okay. I'm going to say, give me 10 more ideas for essential questions. And I'm just going to see if there's anything else that I might want to include. Okay, here's 10 more ideas that would go with this unit. Let's see if there's any of these that I like. I'm going to say I like number 1, but can you rewrite it more appropriate for a 5th grader? Sure, here's a revised version. How can the government's decisions affect the things we buy and how much they cost? How does government policy influence the supply and demand? Okay, I like that better. I'm going to say, can you add that into my unit plan? And it will. So here's the updated version of my essential questions. And I'm going to say, no. I only wanted number 1 added in, not everything else. Let's have it fix that. Okay, good. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to take out number 3. Take out number 3. Just for an illustration. Okay, now show me stage 1 of this unit plan. So here we are. And it's updated our essential questions so that it's taken out the one that I didn't want and it's added in the one that I did want. And that's important because as we're going through and going on to stage 2, the information here affects what goes into stage 2. That's why I like doing it in separate pieces. Okay, so when we're on stage 2, say we're ready to move there now. We're going to, this is about evidence and assessment, how we know our students are doing this. Okay, I'm going to say, let's look at stage 2 of UBD. I'm going to, just so it knows, I'll say, learn this. Okay, I pasted it in. All right, so sure, here's stage 2 section of your supply and demand unit, and that's after it's learned what I've given it. All right, so it's giving me evaluative criteria, assessment evidence. Here's a performance task where the students create a business plan. Other evidence, quizzes, worksheets, real-life scenarios, self-assessment, and reflection. Okay, I'm going to say, oh, this business plan. Okay, let's give me 4 more ideas for the performance task. Okay, so here are 4 more ideas: a market analysis report, a simulation game, a debate, a research project. Okay, I like this simulation game idea. So what if I'm going to go with that? I'm going to say add the take out the business report and replace it. What is a report? Or sorry, business plan, and replace it with the simulation game. Sure. Now show me stage 2. Oh, that is stage 2. Okay, we're good. And now I'm going to say even more. I'm going to say write the directions for the simulation game. Okay? Write the directions for the simulation game. Here we are. Here's the directions. I can just copy and paste it if I'm happy with this and pass this out to my students. All right, in groups of three or four, access the supply and demand marketplace simulation game website. Where is the supply and demand marketplace simulation game website? Let's see if it'll give it to me. Okay, so here are several online simulation game websites. Okay, so now I'm going to say write a rubric to score this simulation game project. And here we are. Oop, I don't like it in that format. I'm going to say write it in table format. Okay, here we are. And we have everything we need now. And I can even say, so here's my criteria, here's my scoring needs. All right, I'm feeling pretty happy with that simulation game assessment. So maybe it's time that we start looking at stage 3 in our, which is our learning plan. This is our daily activities that we're going to be going over. I think it's important that we're going in order. So this is like we're doing it the UBD order of starting with our essential understandings and the big ideas first. So I'm going to say learn this so that it learns exactly the format I like, and make stage 3. There we are. All right, here's a stage 3. Week 1, hands-on activity, group activity, class discussion. Fantastic. Simulation game preparation. Okay. Now I'm going to say, show me, looking at week 1, introduction to supply and demand, hands-on activity, create simple supply and demand graphs for a few different scenarios. Okay. Give me example. I'm going to say example. Simple select for week 1. All right, so then I'm going to get some, the graph for a popular toy during the season, the demand curve is high, and then I'm going to say, give me numbers to use for number 1. Okay, here's the numbers. So they're giving me an actual story problem that I can use that the students will be graphing. So now I think you can see that you can go through and create exactly what you want. If I wanted to right now, I can say generate the hands-on activities and group activities for week 1, and it'll give it all to me right now. Now do it for week 2, and that way you can modify what you want it to stop doing and what you want it to do more of.